Okay, welcome to Dodo Modern Poets. It's a lovely autumn afternoon. If you haven't been here before, just to let you know, there is a loo on this floor, which is handy. You don't have to fight your way through the hordes of drinkers downstairs to reach the toilets. This is quite a venerable history, this particular room, because it's been used for performances for decades. And in fact, a young American singer came here one evening to just listen into the show that was being performed here in 1962. And Mark McCarthy was running the evening, a folk evening, said, "Would you like to do a couple of songs?" And this young American singer said, no, I'm just here to listen. But come the interval, the young American singer said, "Okay, I'll do 2 or 3 of my latest songs." And it was somebody called Bob Dylan, so this very room, very spa, this hallowed ground. Bob Dylan sang Probably Blowing in the Wind and a couple of other things. So we're not expecting him here this afternoon, but we are expecting to have an evening afternoon actually, including Ardella Jones, who we're very pleased to have back. Ardella has been reading at Dodo Modern Poets for many years now, and I'll say more about her later on. And John Hurley, who I've known for quite a while, but it's the first time that he will have read as a featured poet here. And in a short while we're going to have some open mic spots. The afternoon will progress that we have 2 or 3 open mic spots, then we'll have one of the featured poets doing a set, then we'll have an interval, and the featured poets, well, both featured poets, will do a set in the first half and in the second half. There'll be an interval in the middle, so the whole afternoon should finish at about the right side of 5 o'clock. You know, so there you are. So a nice relaxed afternoon. Can't think of anything else I need to tell you right now. Oh yes, open mic poets, I think I've already said this, a couple of poems each, with the exception of Christine, who reads haiku, so there we are. I'm going to kick off with, I'm going to read a poem. I wrote this, Roger Bannister, who was the man who ran the first 4-minute mile sometime back in the 1950s, died earlier this year. When I was thinking about it, I thought this is quite interesting compared to today's celebrity athletes, because he was an amateur athlete. He had a full-time job, you know, working in civil service or something. And in his spare time, he ran 4-minute miles. I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it? So I think everybody was like that back then. You're hardier people. So this is Milestone. Back then, a mile was a real mile, hard going but authentic. You didn't just run it, you lived it. That mile took hold of your soul, ate it up, spat out the pits, left it panting at the side of the track. That mile put you on the rack, wrenched your gut till you could stand no more. But you kept going, waving to fans on the uphill stretch. Not everyone could afford bus fares, so that's how we got to work. Pumping along the asphalt, swigging ale, none of your fancy bottled water, stuffing a pasty in your gob as the clock ticked past. 3 minutes, 3 minutes 30 seconds. We thought nothing of those miles. Anyone taking longer than 4 minutes was just not trying. You got blisters, but that's life. We weren't soft. We ate miles like postmen eat crisps, rapidly and at pace. We were born tough, lived tough. That's the way we liked it. Don't give me your 3 minutes, 59 seconds. Even now I could shave a hair's breadth off that. Watch me go. And for heaven's sake, don't get in the way. Right, I'm going to read one more and then introduce some of our lovely open micers. This is from our latest collection, the Ghost Cunnane Kafka, on sale here for a mere £8, £1 off the publisher's price. And this is a poem about unreliable friends, people you make an arrangement with and somehow it doesn't work out. Absence of Joe. 7:30, there's an absence of Joe. We're not worried, he's not expected yet. At the appointed time, come in, I'll start again, Joe. When you're standing there. Right. Okay, this is a poem, this is not directed at you, Joan, it's a poem about people who don't turn up on time. called Absence of Joe. It's about unreliable friends. Okay. Let's start again. 7:30. There's an absence of Joe. We're not worried. He's not expected yet. At the appointed time, in walks someone who's not Joe, followed by a man who should be Joe, but isn't. We wait while several not Joes enter, are greeted by other not Joes. I leave a message on Joe's phone. Where are you? We're puzzled by your absence. Joe rings. He's missed a connection, promises to ring back in the morning. Next day, the clock ticks towards noon. No word from Joe. His absence lingers, is eventually washed away by relentless Irish rain. Having missed our connection with Joe, we return to England with only a litre of Powers whiskey for company. Before I introduce the open mic poets, the other open mic poets, so I've just done a couple. I just want to say that this lovely landlord here doesn't charge us anything for the room, which is very unusual these days. But he asks us to rattle a bucket for Macmillan's nurses every week. So if you've got any spare change in the interval, whenever, pop something in there, we'd be grateful. And so would Macmillan's nurses and our landlord. So I'm going to kick off now with a first of our open mic poets, who's come for his second time to Dodo Modern Poets. And last time he came to see someone perform, or to see several people perform. Today he's decided to come and give us a couple of poems of his own. Please welcome Paul.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting to be all this quick. I've just come into it. I'm a newbie to all this, so I came to this 2 months ago. My friend Alison was performing her poems. Okay, so these are recent scribblings. I'll give you this one. This is Britain in Bloom. Britain in Bloom. Alcohol propensity. Heightened acuity. Absolute absurdity. A record of utter idiocy. Written from the perspective of a clean-limbed soul and a former hypocrite. Cognitive enhancement. Downright salient. A bloody embarrassment. So, Royal Court Britannia and Goddess Save the King. Welcome to Polity, Vomit and Fighty. The tourism industry, didn't mention all this. Stick a few pansies on the railings. Don't mention the stabbings. Keep on grabbing by euro and sterling. Keep them coming, get them spending, and get them out. Our Mr. Martin, a saviour, should be Prime Minister. Cocktail in a can, flame-grilled salad for two, and a spray-on tan. Here cometh the hen night. The lads watch and laugh as the lasses scream and fight. And tomorrow, no one will remember a thing. That black eye, that used condom, that Snapchat message from a naked guy called John. It must be a numbing experience for the grandparents to witness. We only had half a brown and bitter in the 50s, and we're happy to dance in the village hall or the checkers back room. We're not just prepared for this Britain in bloom. They're referred to as millennials, full bloom perennials, but their parents weren't just seasonals, they were in for the slog. Ibiza in 87, Bristol in 95. The wall paint is a bit thicker now, but they can still party and rock and somehow just about stay alive. Oh, what a show. The great British puke-off, the glory of the high street, the glitter of the promenade, come heat, rain, ice or snow. The skirt is a scarf, jackets are a no-no. Mandatory tattoos on arse, thigh and calf, vodka a go-go. Then there's the footy, of course, tango in the pub, shagging in the club, punch up in the kebab shop, fainting in the kebab office, sick on the bus, forget about us. Good night and up yours. Makes you so proud, so much to fight for.
You missed me.
Yes, please.
No.
This is called Sun. This is just musings. Written in Shoreham by Sea, August 2018. Today, the sun didn't float across the sky, as it always does, in totality. For some reason, it refused today. Instead, it chose an alternative path, and trundled off in a different direction entirely, in a more or less straight trajectory, still towards the west, but in a more direct line, as if its owner wasn't looking. It didn't lower, but instead continued its course at the same height, that plateau. It happened about 5:30 p.m, I should think. Curious that, at this time of year. I, for my part, walked off in the opposite direction after we had said our goodbyes to each other. I've really no idea as to why he elected to do that. I didn't really think, to be honest.
Thanks, that was Paul. So now I'd like to welcome first of our female open mic poets. Could I please ask Gerilyn, thanks? Step forward. In the lines again.
Hello. I thought I might tell you the story of how I became a serial killer. It began with a truly elaborate plan, like some fabulous Hollywood thriller. I wanted to murder this neighbour, you see, to wipe her face clean off the planet. She constantly played this meandering jazz, and eventually I couldn't stand it. I asked her politely first, please turn it down, but she swore and then played it full blast, slammed the door in my face when I begged her again. I decided this just couldn't last. My nerves were in tatters and stressed to the max, but what to do I didn't know. I was crazy with rage and frustration at first, then this idea started to grow. I needed to pluck her right out of my life, so carefully worked out a plan. I'd poison her food that they left on her doorstep, delivered each Thursday by van. I went to an internet cafe and there I purchased some poison online. The credit card used was the top-up sort. I invented her name, that was fine. The boxes then I intercepted. Made sure it was all infected. Each piece of fruit and veg injected. I wasn't questioned or suspected. The overwhelming sense of glee. Thus began my killing spree. I thought about several so-called friends whose bitchiness caused me such pain. I could stop all their gossiping petty lives and not have to see them again. I removed all those who, to me, were a problem. The landlord, the neighbours, and so on. Those I disliked, or had crossed me some way. But I wondered how long this could go on. I never got questioned, the link never made. Then my daughter came over to see me. She said how my friends having all died of poison was not just coincidence, clearly. She looked at me suspiciously. That was when she said to me she had checked up, surreptitiously, what caused availability of flats in my vicinity. I looked at her quite guiltily. She said it had to stop. Well, nobody else had a clue it was me. We were there all alone in my flat. I knew in my heart what I needed to do. But I love her, I couldn't do that. I'm not really a serial killer, that's just silly. But it's nice to share something from your life, so I grew up in a northern town, but by the age of 16, I dreamed about going to London, a place I'd never been. I told my dad the ideas I had to make something of my life. He didn't appear to listen at all, and I said it all at least twice. There's things that I could do down there and feel I just can't wait. Famous people, streets and places I've read about. It sounds great. My dad, he still didn't listen, just carried on watching TV. He never made any comment at all, nor even looked at me. Since Mum walked out, I'd felt so lost. Now this, the final straw. Didn't he see I was leaving too? He'd been through this before. Couldn't he have turned and said, "I love you, please don't go"? He thought men should be strong and tough, not let their feelings show. Perhaps he really didn't care. That's how it seemed to me. So went upstairs and packed my bag and left next morning early. I didn't even say goodbye. Sadness, tinged with rage, went striding along in my old blue jeans, felt older than my age. Stood by the side of a big main road, I decided to hitch a ride. A truck pulled over before too long. The driver said, "Hop inside." After a while, I realised I'd made a huge mistake. His eyes were cold and black. The smile he'd given me was fake. He never answered my questions, my pleas to let me out. There was no point in screaming. No one would hear me shout. Speeding down the motorway, his blank eyes stared ahead. My heart was pounding in my ears. My mind was filled with dread. I knew for sure we were headed south. I'd seen the signs on the way. When he turned off into a lay-by, I noticed his face was grey. He stopped the truck and grabbed me. His teeth sank deep in my neck. He must have sucked out most of my blood. I was left a lifeless wreck. And after that he was cheerful, merrily chatted away. When we carried on with our journey, he said, "You'll always remember this day." He offered to find me a place to live when we got into London at last. Felt strange and dreamy, but no longer tired. Just wanted to lie down and fast. It turned out the place where he left me was a brothel for folk of the night. It's easy for feeding my need for blood, and the living I make's all right. I must have seen half a century now of life down this alley in Soho. We pay off the law and the locals with bribes. What exactly we do, best they don't know. Most of our punters are folk like us, or men who deserve their fate. Sleazy, seeking sordid thrills. And when they find out, it's too late. Well, I'd wanted my life to be different, and I guess most young people do. I never envisaged a life quite like this, but you could say my dreams did come true.
Thank you very much, Gerilyn and Bence. And now